We're at Seoul's biggest seafood market, and that can only mean one thing, a seafood feast.
There's row upon row of seafood vendors who've got these massive tanks full of fresh seafood. Let's go and find something to eat.
We're buying the seafood fresh from the tanks, and then we're taking it to a restaurant where they're going to cook it up for us. You have got to check out this process. I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate. We hope you're hungry. Let's eat. NORYANGJIN Fish Market is made up of two buildings, so we are in the old building right now, and I reckon it has a lot more character than the newer spot. But there is so much seafood to choose from. There's all manner of shellfish. There are prawns, fish, octopus, sea cucumbers. There is anything and everything you could possibly want to create for yourself a gigantic seafood feast.
Sashimi.
Sashimi. It's a sea pineapple. Yeah. Oh, they're great. We've just bought some fresh seafood from this vendor here. We got one baby octopus and half a kilo of sea pineapples. Now we're off to find a fresh fish.
이거 맛있어요.
맛있어요.
35,000원.
5,000원. So 3,500. We've come to this lovely seafood vendor, and she's showing us what looks to be a fish like a sole or a flounder. Let's work out how much it's going to be. So it's 35,000 won, which is almost about $40. I think we can try and bargain it down a little bit.
We've now purchased the fish. We did a good bit of bargaining on that one, and now they cut it up for us before we go off to a restaurant. So another lady's going to take us to her restaurant where she'll prepare all of this seafood for us to eat.
The lady who owns the restaurant, she's got all the fish bones with her as well, because we're going to get a seafood stew made up.
We've been led through some back alleys in the market into this little restaurant where we're getting the octopus and the sea pineapple prepared, and then we have this huge plate of fish ready to go. Look at that fish, amazing.
The ladies have brought over our plate of baby octopus, and you can see they've literally just cut the head off, cleaned it, and then popped it on this plate with some sesame seeds and some sesame oil. And you can see the tentacles are still moving, so the nerve endings are still going. And look, if I pick up a piece, look at it squiggling away. I'm just going to pop it in my gob and see what it tastes like. It's still stuck to the chopstick. It's stuck to my tongue. It's crazy. It's such an interesting feeling. And that sesame oil, so fragrant, so beautiful. And they say that with this sashimi style octopus, you just keep chewing and chewing, and then it becomes really sweet. It's so tender. I'm gonna go for another bit. Oh, I can barely pick it up off the plate because it's stuck. Alright, it's still moving away. That is so delicious. It's really fresh, doesn't taste fishy at all. And then it aroma and nuttiness of those sesame seeds just really adds to it.
Next up, I'm gonna try these sea pineapples that we got. Oh, and also look at this in the middle of the table. We've got this spicy looking fish broth just gonna start bubbling away. That just got put on the table with all the fish bones from the fish that we purchased. Let's try this sea pineapple. So it's a very, very interesting looking thing. It's sort of orange and knobbly, but this is just being cut up. It's completely raw. Let's try this little bit right here. That's very soft. I thought it was going to be chewy. I thought it was going to be much chewier than that. It sort of just goes down very easily. It's got quite a bitter taste, sort of a tang to it. It's bitter is the overriding flavour, which I did not expect. I'm going to have a little bit more. It's like eating through the skin of an orange. That real tingly bitterness with a little bit of a salty sea flavour, and then that overriding bitterness. Ooh, it just exploded a bit in my mouth. And that was real seafoody, salty, shellfish tasting. It's sort of the texture of an oyster and has the flavour of an oyster, but much more bitter. That's a very interesting little thing.
We've been given some wasabi, so I'm going to add a little bit of soy to that and then dip this sea pineapple into that mixture. Alright, it's just such an interesting looking thing. You can see these bits are quite jelly-like and globby, and then this bit almost looks a little bit like a brain. It's got all sorts of orangey, brown, creamy bits in it. Let's give this bit a go. So I'm going to dip it in the wasabi and the soy. Alright. Very salty from that. Ooh, it just slipped down my throat. Very salty, and it's a very slimy texture, so very similar to an oyster, like Thomas said. But the overriding flavour is a bitterness and a saltiness. So we've got this big pot of fish stew bubbling away in the middle of the table, and that's going to become infused with that fish flavour because it's got the carcass of the fish that we bought before. But first, while that's cooking, let's try this huay or raw fish. It's just this huge platter and it's been filleted perfectly. It's got some pickled ginger, there's some wasabi, not sure what these are, maybe garlic, but let's just give it a go. Just as is, I'm going to dip it in a little bit of soy and get a bit of that wasabi on there and try it. Oh, it's almost a little bit chewy. It's so fresh. No discernible fish flavour, it's just very mild. That is super tasty. We've also got this plate of lettuce leaves here. So what I'm going to do is just make a little bit of a wrap. So I'm going to get some pieces of the fish, dip it in that soy and get some wasabi again, and pop it in that lettuce. Might grab a little bit of this garlic which is hanging around as well. Swipe that in the gochujang. So gochujang is a red pepper chili sauce which is used in Korean cooking. Alright, let's just wrap that up. Quite a big little package, but pop it all in one go. Whoa, that was the perfect mouthful. The fish is almost creamy in texture, and then that gochujang is sweet and spicy and savoury. Got the zing from the garlic, and then this lettuce was just so fresh. This is turning out to be an epic meal.
I'm gonna grab a couple of bits of this white fish. I want to dip it in this gochujang sauce as well, so we'll give that a good coating. Then I'm gonna pop it on this lettuce leaf. And now I've got these little bits here that look like pickled garlic. Look at that, so let's pop that on top too. I think that's the perfect little bite. Let's wrap that lettuce leaf up and give that a go. Oh, this sauce has a burst of flavour. Not really spicy, but tangy, sour almost. But that garlic, it's not that strong. Because it's been pickled, it's just giving a beautiful light garlic taste to that fish, which is creamy like Sheena said, but has a little bit of chew going on as well. So it's a great texture in the mouth, and it's not fishy one bit. I think Sheena said that too. It's just a beautiful, fresh sea flavour. That is really, really good fresh fish. And now the smells of this stew. Whoa, that's hot. The smell of the stew, because it's sitting on the table, really bubbling away. That's sort of gonna round off this meal because it smells incredible. We've got to try this one, Sheena.
We've turned the heat off on our seafood stew because it's rapidly losing the soup through the steam, but it's made up of all these incredible looking ingredients. So we've got spring onion, there's some coriander here, there's garlic, there's mung bean shoots, and most importantly there's that fish carcass. So that's the fish head there. Oh, look at that. Wow, I just peeled back the cheek and you've got this beautiful looking cheek meat. I'm just gonna go ahead and eat that because it looks way too good to pass up. Oh, it's just melt in your mouth. It's so soft. All right, time to dish up. So the broth has got quite a bit of a red tinge to it, so it's got some chili in it. There's a bit of melon there. So I'm going to add some soup to my bowl and then get a little bit of this fish that's hanging about. So the fish is just broken away from the carcass and you can see the spine there. So I'm going to add that to my bowl and also get some greens. Alright, let's try it. Where's my spoon? Okay. Oh, it's the perfect weather to be eating this dish. It's -1 degrees today in Seoul and this is just going to warm us right up. Okay, time to just try the soup by itself. Oh wow, it's very salty and it's just been infused with that fish carcass. It's got such a strong seafood flavour. It's a little bit spicy, but the overwhelming flavour is this savouriness, this saltiness. I'm going to peel away a little bit of the meat from the fish bones there and give those a go and get a little bit of spring onion and some mung bean. Alright. Oh, it's so hearty. The meat is just so tender, and then you've got the crisp, fresh flavour from the coriander and the spring onion. That is going to warm us right up.
I've got a bowl of this stew now to try. So it's just a big piece of bony fish. There's the backbone there, swimming in that thin broth. You can see it's really watery and soupy. Let's try some of the broth by itself to start us off. Oh, yum! It's really salty. It has that fish. It's got a beautiful fish flavour from it because it's all the carcass. It's all that deep fish flavour. It's really rich almost in fish flavour. You get a little bit more broth, but I'll get some coriander stems on this one too. That wasn't coriander. That was just some sort of green veg. Oh, that broth, it's very salty. Very, very salty. It could go with some rice or something, would be quite good with that. But not in a bad way salty. It's like that sort of natural seafood saltiness, and I love it. It's got a little bit of a spice kick, nothing too major. Having that hot dish to go with the rest of the food we're having is perfect, because like Sheena said, it is very cold outside today. So coming in from the freezing cold fish market into here is really nice. And we were in the old part of the fish market. There are two parts, they're right next door to each other. And the old part is just sort of an old concrete shell, whereas the new part looks a lot more fancy. But we were actually in the old fish market about a year and a half ago, and it was absolutely jam-packed with stalls. When we were there today, it was not very busy with stalls. It seemed about half of the stalls have left. So maybe they're all being transitioned to the new one. So if you get a chance to come and experience it while the old one is still open, it's a really special thing to do, to buy your fish and then get led into these restaurants up in these little alleys, and they prepare all this food for you. You can still do this from the new fish market, but the old one just has that great feeling. You can tell a lot has gone on in that building. That was a really good and really interesting meal. It was really fun working out all the ins and outs of how to do that, because we don't speak a word of Korean. We've learnt to sort of say 1, 2, 3, hello, thank you, but beyond that, nothing. So working out the price, what fish we could get, where we went to eat it, how it worked when we were at the restaurant was all a lot of sign language and smiles. So it was a little bit difficult, but it definitely wasn't hard. So if you're a traveler coming to Seoul, definitely put that on your list as a very, very memorable experience here at the fish market.
Whoa, that seafood was so fresh, so delicious. Make sure if you're in Seoul, South Korea, you absolutely have to put this fish market on your itinerary.
And don't forget to pop down below, hit that thumbs up button, hit subscribe. There is going to be heaps more food videos from all over Korea. We're in Seoul at the moment and we're heading down to Busan, so there is lots to come.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Annyeong!
Annyeong!